I really like Hot Pursuit. I think this is really entertaining. Not that it's not without its flaws, but I was surprised to see that it had 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I thought this would have been in the high 6s. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was released in 2015, directed by Anna Fletcher, written by David Feeney and John Quintance, and stars Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara. And the reason that I wanted to watch this initially is partly because I really like Reese Witherspoon, and partly because I love films where we have a police officer as our protagonist, and when it's a comedy, that's just throwing a little bit extra icing on the cake. The description from IMDb reads as follows. An uptight and by-the-book cop tries to protect the outgoing widow of a drug boss as they race through Texas pursued by crooked cops and murderous gunmen. So, Reese Witherspoon is our detective, our police officer, Rose Cooper. She's trying to protect Daniella Riva, played by Sofia Vergara. And as it says there, Rose is very much by the book. She's a police officer who knows what she is doing, and she has a job to do. And as much as Daniella protests and stamps her feet and doesn't want to go along with Rose, she's going to make sure that it happens. And they're very much chalk and cheese, and that provides a lot of hilarity. But they also have things in common, of course. And they get themselves into some very sticky situations, some very difficult scenarios as they're being kind of followed or chased, or they suspect they're being followed, as Rose tries to get Daniella to safety. And I think one of the main things I enjoy about this is the contrast in the reactions between Rose and Daniella. When something goes wrong, they both have very different reactions to the situation. I think they have a great on-screen chemistry. Loved seeing Witherspoon and Vergara performing together. Really thoroughly enjoyable. Rose Cooper as a copper, I loved. I obviously watch a lot of films and TV shows with police officers as protagonists, and as such, while I'm not usually that bothered about what they're like, I do have certain kinds of characters that I prefer, and Rose is definitely one of them. I love her uniform, absolutely brilliant. The pacing is really good. It's quite quick, it is fast-paced, it's action-packed, but because it's a comedy, there are times when it slows down a bit, and you can just enjoy the moment, enjoy the kind of humour, just enjoy the film for what it is. And that's something that I really appreciate as well, because a lot of films that try to do comedy, even though they're mainly action, there's so much going on for you to take in that you haven't really got the opportunity to absorb the humour. But that's definitely not the case here. I thoroughly, really very much enjoyed it, and I'm surprised it wasn't rated more highly. As I said, it's not perfect in every way. There are times when I feel like the narrative could have taken a bit more exciting direction, or maybe it got a little bit repetitive with some of the things that were happening. But ultimately, I absolutely adored it. And if you haven't seen it, please do check it out and let me know what you think. Personally, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Will happily watch it again. I will watch it again at some point. Ultimately, it's an absolute joy and not really something I can fault.